In anthropology, the word patriarchy was used to describe large families headed by men or patriarchs. Over time, its meaning has undergone a change. Today, patriarchy does not mean the rule of the father, it means rule of men. Any man can exhibit or impose his power or authority on women on the streets, in a bus or a train, in a college, even in a parliament, anywhere. So now, what patriarchy means is male domination. But it is still called patriarchy, father's rule, but it does not mean that anymore. In her book, Theorizing Patriarchy, Sylvia Wolby calls patriarchy a system of social structures and practices in which men dominate, oppress, and exploit women. The definition I use of patriarchy has three parts. One, patriarchy is a social system. Two, in this system, men are assumed to be superior to women. And three, men have more control over resources, decision making, and ideology. The word more is important here, more control. Men do not have total control even in patriarchy. Under patriarchy, women are neither totally powerless nor totally deprived of rights, influence, and resources. Some women can and they actually do have positions of power in a patriarchal system. For example, there have been queens and women prime ministers in very patriarchal societies. Women can be worshipped, and individual women can command power and prestige within their families. Women can also get into some very important positions and jobs. Women who accept and perpetuate patriarchy can be worshipped. Like in India, women who committed sati have temples for them. What is important here is to examine the system that creates discourses about the masculine and feminine and assigns value to them, granting men more access to freedoms and opportunities and resources. It is a self perpetuating system. As men have more access to opportunities and resources, they are at the helm of decision making and thus in the position to make decisions in every field, be it family, religion, social, economic, political, and cultural. And as such discourses gain dominance, women also internalize them and become part of this patriarchal system. It is really important to understand patriarchy as a system because this helps us to reject the notion of biological determinism. Biological determinism implies that men and women behave and are assigned certain roles and positions because of their biology or body. Therefore, patriarchy is a social system just like casteism or racism. And like all social systems, patriarchy has two parts. First, it has a structure which is visible. In many countries, for example, Most parliamentarians and corporate leaders are male. 99% of all religious leaders all over are men. Furthermore, men are heads of households and they control property. This is the structure. But remember, the structure is much more than just the people occupying it. For example, a male dominated parliament is the visible component of the structure of decision making. However, in order to reach the parliament, one has to be elected. A person may have to get nomination from a political party to contest elections or contest independently. At each step, there are a host of laws and regulations. These laws may not overtly discriminate against women, but because of the hidden or invisible forces, they operate in ways that exclude women. As a result, the representation of women in parliaments has been very low. Thus, gender ideology influences this structure and the structure reinforces the ideology. The second part of patriarchy is ideology. Simply having a social structure is not enough. Human beings need an ideology to convince themselves about the necessity of having this system, to control the minds of people, and to justify the structure and make it acceptable. Patriarchal ideology is disseminated all the time in different ways. Advertisements, songs, books, films, and religious preachings, drilling these messages into us about men's superiority, roles of women and men, and the idea that women are and should be controlled by men and are part of men's property. Often, our language is laced with patriarchal ideology, which we shall see a little later. Ideology, like the air, is invisible, but we inhale it all the time, get accustomed to it, and internalize it. In India, the Hindu philosopher Manu is often quoted. He said, "An unmarried girl should be under the control of her father, a married woman under the control of her husband, and a widow under the control of her son." Therefore, patriarchal ideology justifies male domination and male superiority.